So I set myself a rather ambitious task to produce a video a month, but this month's video is not really getting out, so I'm going to do what the TV channels are doing at the minute and rehash some of my old material into a video for February. Now, often I ponder how these videos are going to work when I'm walking the dog. There's the dog. That has been working for me, but by the time I've thought of all my ideas when I'm walking the dog and get home and try and script it, I forgot about it all. So I decided to cut out the middleman and just record it while I'm walking the dog, like this. Now, the video is probably called something I totally disagree with. It's probably got something like women and engineering in the title and STEM, and I hate the term women, ladies, females, / engineering, / doctors, / scientists, or anything like that. Don't know what you're like, but where I'm from and how I was brought up, we call women engineers, engineers, and we call women scientists, scientists. That's how it works. Thinking about it though, this video is probably going to be called something like that I hate, but you know, I need them views. Now, I love the STEM, I love the science, the technology, the engineering and the mathematics. I'm all right at the science, I'm good at the technology, I'm great at the engineering, but I'm crap at the mathematics. But this person, who I'm going to discuss in this video, was excellent at the majority of them. And she was a trailblazer because, of course, as the title says, she was a lady. Now, as a totally added bonus, I love engineering. I can't think why. But I particularly love World War II engineering and Cold War engineering because everything was moving on so fast with all these great ideas going off. Mostly so we could kill each other, but we won't go into that. That's why this person and what they invented is particularly exciting to me. This person's name was Beatrice or Tilly Shilling, and she invented one of the most monumental things ever in World War II because of its ruthless simplicity. That's simpler, in its essence, stopped Spitfires falling out of the sky when they were flying, which is obviously bad. Now, this video is going to dive into some old footage I got where me and my good friend Nick discussed Tilly Shilling whilst at the Royal Aircraft Establishment in Farnborough, where she worked and developed this. But just a few interesting points before I cut to that footage is Beatrice Tilly Shilling was the daughter of a butcher in Manchester in a time that I'm going to put on the screen because I can't remember it because I'm walking the dog. Her university intake had 2 females on it, her and another, and they were the first 2 females, I hate that word, to go through Manchester University studying engineering. Being the daughter of a butcher, she didn't have loads of cash, so she had to take out a loan to go to university. I can imagine that the bank manager was pissing himself at that at the time, thinking, I'm never going to see this again. And as she got to the end of her engineering degree, she would find herself caught up in World War II directly, working at the Royal Aircraft Establishment in Farnborough, where she would go on to develop all sorts of crazy flying gubbins. One of the best things about Tilly Shilling that I like, personally, was the fact that she was a great character, and I like that in an engineer. I like to see people who have got a bit of character about them. She was renowned for upsetting the locals around where she lived because she'd often drive around in cars and motorbikes, like a boy racer, well into her 60s. And by into her 60s, I mean age, not miles an hour. She went faster than that. This was a lady that from the age of 14 owned a motorcycle and before the age of 16 learned to totally strip and reassemble the engine on her own. And then, at this time, when 100 miles an hour weren't even being achieved by trains, stop the majority of trains. I don't want all the train people on here telling me that the actual speed record was achieved in 1934 by the Flying Scotsman. I love trains, I already know. People at work would often think she was quite quiet, meek, and not very outgoing. But once they got to know her, they would soon realise that was definitely not the case at all. Whilst not being the first woman to do it, Tilly was one of only 3 women to ever do a lap with a constant speed of over 100 miles an hour around the Brooklands circuit, earning herself the Brooklands Gold Star. And make no mistake, the Brooklands track at this time in 1939 was an absolute disaster of a circuit. Concrete oval, uncoated, that would take the lives of many drivers. And going around it at over 100 miles an hour constantly for a lap was something not to be frowned at by anyone. Now, don't quote me on this, but while she wasn't the first woman to do it at that speed, I think she might have been the only woman to do it on a motorcycle that she mechanically maintained herself, which makes it even more impressive at that time. Now, I could produce an entire video just on the Brooklands tracks, it's steeped in history, and I could produce another video about the first woman to go around it, because she's also a bit of a ninja, but I'll save that for another time, but feel free to look on the old Google machine. She would ride around a motorcycle track in minimal safety equipment, in a hat that didn't even cover her chin, and achieve 100 miles an hour on a bike she took apart in her living room. So I can't imagine she was that meek, but she's particularly well known for this one, the RA restrictor. Here's me and Nick discussing this previously, where I go into some detail and desperately try not to let Nick get a word in edgeways. Hi everyone. Yeah. Hi the 3 people that are watching this. Farnborough Airport.
So what went on here? Specifically why are we here?
What orifice was invented at Farnborough? We're big into engineering equality, and this is a particularly good one because at this time this was quite unorthodox, this one.
Okay, I don't know.
So
Tell me.
at Farnborough, this in World War II, the Spitfire is a carburettor-fired engine.
Right.
Yeah, and the Messerschmitt, or whatever it is, the German one, the Bosch, yeah, they've got fuel injection. So quite early on in the war, when everyone's learning all these tactics because they've not used them before, the Germans realised if they bang in steep, I believe, check this, there'll be something more interesting about it.
Tell us.
There'll be something more interesting about it on YouTube. If they smash it in low and fast and just go into a massive dive, the Spitfire can't go after it because as it goes into the G, all the fuel rushes into the carburetor and basically floods the engine. So this problem needed to be solved quite quickly, and at this time, this was the Royal Aircraft Establishment, where all the trials were done on aircraft and tactics and all that kind of stuff. So, I'm going to get a name wrong now, but her nickname was Tilly Shilling, but you won't call that to her face. I can't remember her first name, I'll put it here, this is her name. Yeah, you can do that on YouTube videos. So this is her actual name, yeah, so she invented a device that prevented more fuel than necessary going into the engine. So she basically, if you imagine a pipe, she worked out, there's a big pipe to feed the fuel as it's needed. She worked out a disc that went in the pipe that blocked it off, and then they put a hole into that disc which only allowed the maximum amount of fuel the engine could deal with at any one time. Yeah, it restricted it to its maximum required amount, but as it came out of the G, the fuel behind would be allowed to come through, so it didn't block the pipes. So she invented that. Yeah. Female, she's an interesting character as well. Female aviation engineer, which for like that time, there's not many female engineers from that time. There's not many female engineers now, sort it out. But for that time, and she weren't like just some, like making the tea, sweeping up, doing the typing. She was quite a well-respected aviation engineer. Some interesting facts about her are, she had the 100-mile-an-hour record round Brooklyn circuit. She was the first woman to go round Brooklyn circuit 100 mile an hour over 100 mile an hour average, which in that time period, which we talk about 1945, going 100 mile an hour was new and crazy at that time anyway. And she refused to marry her husband until he managed to go round Brooklyn circuit at over 100 mile an hour.
Yeah, that's really
interesting. So all this like mad stuff at the minute, like getting female engineers, they've been around for ages, it's just that people are a bit ignorant. There's a pub in Farnborough called the Tilly Shilling, Wetherspoon's pub. They're obviously going full out to promote that. Yeah. And like, it's nice that it's a shame that people promoting local heroes like that, male or female, has to be Wetherspoons.
Yeah,
and unfortunately, it's very nice inside. Yeah, it's got all the aviation on it, but it's just a terrible pub, isn't it? But yeah,
you're slating the local pub.
I'm slating. I love the fact that it's named after like the local celebrity scientific lady who invented something really important for World War II. Without that invention, the Germans didn't need to shoot us down. They didn't need to shoot. They could effectively get two planes in a dogfight and win without firing around. Because all they've got to do is let someone follow them, maybe an experienced pilot, go into a dive, they follow them. Once it's flooding, you're knackered, and they'll just exploit that thing. So yeah, without her coming up with that, and she did it quite quickly as well. It was a quick effort. Maybe men were over engineering it. Maybe men were thinking too much. Maybe they're going straight to fuel injection. She's just like, you can only get liquid uncompressed, does it? Very much.
No,
don't quote that in scientific material, but yeah, liquid uncompressed very much. So if you restrict it simply, then you can't flood it.
Yeah, I find these characters really interesting. So what does that mean for today? So at the moment, people assume that things like AI and robotics, that it's all going to be engineers doing these things, but you have people like who are marketers, showmen, people who could sell things. You have them coming along and really driving innovation in an area that you wouldn't assume them to be working in. So we need all kinds of different people to be driving innovation. To drive innovation in engineering, it's not just the technical people that you need all kinds of different people.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that. I hope it gave you a bit of an insight to Tilly Shilling, and mostly, I hope it didn't ask hardly any of your questions you've got about her. If you ever look on the Google machine, you can find loads more about that's on here. You can find better videos than this on YouTube, to be honest, about her. Although they go into a bit more about private life and all that kind of stuff, which I'm not really bothered about because all I care about is engineering. And also, if you like the format where I was talking with Nick and you'd like to hear what Nick sounds like, because I didn't let him get a word in edgeways, if you look back on the history of this channel, you'll find some other videos where me and Nick ramble on about all sorts of engineering rubbish in a way that sometimes he gets to speak, which is nice. So yeah, have a look. Thanks very much for watching. Like and subscribe because it really helps. and I'm trying to do this and it's a pain in the arse and people walk towards me now, so I'm going to stop. Cheers. And if you'd like to see more of my dog Gibson, he's got his own YouTube channel. Not really, he's just a dog.
Okay.